All right, we are now recording. We'll get started. Yeah, thank you all for coming very much. Or if you are watching this asynchronously, thank you for logging on. We'll try to get through this relatively efficiently. It's always a balance, right, between presenting information as thoroughly as possible and getting ahead of frequently asked questions and just things we know you'll wonder about and um, going on too long, right? I know that probably in my emails I strike that balance a little on the long email side, but you got to see it from my perspective. Every extra little thing I include is like a couple less emails on one end and a couple less confused parents. So, but anyway, thank you all for coming. Hopefully, this is you find this to be worth your time. With that, we'll jump right into the PowerPoint. There's the agenda as well if you want to loosely follow along, but it's more of a guideline than anything. And the PowerPoint is probably the best thing to watch here. Hold on, I'm just going to mute a few more people as they come in. Great. Okay. Let's see here from the beginning. Great. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's see. All right, perfect. We'll do it this way. All right, so welcome to the BAC Fall Parent Meeting. This is for September 2024, either those you watching on Zoom or on YouTube. Here are the basics. So this is also spelled out in the agenda. We're going to cover the basics of BAC and our club structure. We'll talk about the board and the coaches. We'll talk about tier and simply swimming. We'll do a brief website tour. We'll go more in depth for new families later. We'll talk about MAP and safe sport and what that means. We'll talk about some of the quote Sherry stuff, the billing and the fees and all that. We'll talk a lot about communication and BAC's philosophy on youth sports. Then we'll say adios to the returning families and go into a few more things in a little more detail. For the basics, BAC was formed in 1999, so that means we've just finished our successful 25th year. But our roots date back a lot further. BAC didn't come out of nothing. There were 3 clubs in the Madison area that banded together to form one extra large club because that was very advantageous at the time, the way USA Swimming was going. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are athlete centered, board driven, and coach run. We're a member of USA Swimming and the Wisconsin LSC. If you're not familiar with that term, LSC means local swim committee. In the Midwest here, it kind of loosely means state, although not exactly. For example, the Wisconsin LSC includes the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It does not include the several counties closest to the Twin Cities. They're part of the Minnesota LSC. In other areas, like, California is divided into multiple LSCs. Texas has several LSCs. It's just an administrative way to break down. But then what happens is the quote unquote state championships in our area are actually LSC championships. We do have a parent board. We'll show those names later and have a chance. We're not going to do any introductions here, but we'll have a chance to show those names later. We have full-time staff, obviously. Oh, I should probably do that, huh? Hi, everybody. My name is Jacob. I should probably maximize myself here, huh? Pin. Great. So, hi, everybody. My name is Jacob. If we haven't met yet, obviously, there's probably talked at least a little bit to most of you. But my background, this is my 26th year with BAC, as we just talked about. We formed in 99. Fall of 1999, I was a college freshman at UW and looking for something to do besides go to school. And so I got hired by our former head coach, Drew, hired me in fall of 1999. I've been coaching ever since. Grew up swimming, was not very good for Shorewood and for Madison West. I got a little bit good by the end of my career. So I really can connect and click with those kids that are not the best. I recently found out looking at old All City results that I got last when I was 9. Dead last in the entire All City, 1990, Parkcrest, terrible. But I can connect with that because I got a lot better. And so there's a lot of kids we have that are on that same journey. I have 2 kids doing the single dad thing this year. 2 kids. Lily is in the West Side Little Badger group. So those of you that are ever at those practices, you'll see her. And any of you guys that are around any of the West Side practices, you'll probably get to meet Jesse, my son, who is in kindergarten. He has a disability called Williams syndrome, and he is just a delight of a human being. He's a very popular character to have at practice, to say the least. So that's me. Hi, Jacob. Nice to meet you. All right, back to this. In addition to myself, we have Sherry Neeson. She's our business manager. Our other 3 full-time coaches are Chris Wills, Jay Tomaszewicz, and Derek Shear. Chris is our senior coach and does a lot of tech and web stuff. Jay is our junior coach and does a lot of some of the behind the scenes like scheduling and calendars and that. Derek is the head coach at our SOC program. They've been with the club anywhere from 8 to about 12, 15 years, something like that. I don't have the exact numbers. In addition to that, we have a bunch of part-time employees. Notably, Jill Deal is the head coach for our Baraboo site. Every group has a lead coach as well. You've likely already gotten an email or several from them for your swimmer. And we have a bunch of other coaches in leadership roles. So you might get emails from time to time. For example, EJ does volunteering. My brother, Eric Johnson, EJ does kind of takes the lead on volunteering stuff for meets. Rachel has taken the lead on a few things from time to time, and we'll see what comes up this year. Our board of directors, our current board president is Brian Johnson. Our newly elected, as of a week ago, right this minute, basically, vice president is Adam Danziger. Brian has a daughter on the team, Kennedy, who is a junior in high school. His son Ethan just started freshman year at Northern Kentucky, and he has another son who's at lacrosse. Adam has kids on the team that are 10 and 12. Rick and Ben are both former board presidents, and they are some of our head officials. They no longer have swimmers on the team. Allison has Jillian, who is a senior. Kristen has 3 daughters that are 12, 10, and 8 about. Jason Schmidt is our treasurer. His kids are no longer on the team as they actually moved to Cincinnati, but he pulls double duty by staying on the board and helping us out with financial stuff. Eric Holmer has 2 and a new 3rd kid on the team. And so does Amanda Byro, who has 2 and now a 3rd kid on the team. So that's sort of our current board of directors. Our current coaching staff, as you can see, we are not going to go through the. I don't know how many of them are on tonight. Very well, might be none of them. We told them they did not have to watch this if they didn't want to, but there was no way we were going to go through the Zoom rigmarole of like unmuting them one at a time and having them introduce themselves, because that's, if you can't count, that's 39 people on that list. It's a great mix. There are going to be some bios on the website. There are some for our returning coaches already. Some of our new coaches aren't up there. Some of our information isn't updated. But it's a wonderful mix of coaches that have been with us a very long time, very experienced. There's a lot of former swimmers, former swim parents, current swim parents, former like really high achieving swimmers, former just very average swimmers. A lot of people that grew up in Madison, a lot of people from outside Madison. A lot of people that work 4 or 5 times a week, a lot of people that work 2 times a week. There's a lot of teachers on here. It is a very mixed staff, and I think that's really, truly a strength of our program, is the different experiences our staff can draw from.
We don't see a presentation if there is one.
Oh my goodness. Hold on a second.
And it sounds like the meeting might be at capacity and there's other parents trying to get in, maybe.
Oh. Well, they'll have to just watch it differently. I'm sorry, everybody. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me just rip through this then so we can see all the wonderful stuff that I had. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that. All parent meeting. Here's what we were going to cover. Here's the club structure and the basics. And we will email out the PowerPoint as a PDF as well. Parent board, full-time staff, part-time staff. There's a list of our board of directors. Were you guys just looking at my face the whole time? I thought you couldn't see me. Did I do anything weird? I hope I didn't do anything weird. I thought it was showing the screen. I didn't know I was on there. This is unfortunate. Let me just do this. Perfect. Okay, great. Here's our staff. Like I said, it's a lot of people coming from a huge variety of backgrounds. All right. Now we're back to where we were. So Tier, this is the 2nd year of our partnership with Tier. We were a Speedo affiliated team for a very long time, and we weren't really satisfied with sort of the interaction we were having and some of the other issues, just kind of the internal back office type stuff. And we made a change and we explored this partnership with Tier. We're a year in, it's great. We get great service. That's a big thing that we've felt is great. Y'all don't really care about that, obviously, and most of you. But it's great for us. And what you guys care about is the gear. The gear is really nice, man. Their sweatshirts and their stuff is really nice. We'll talk about that when we get to the Simply Swimming stuff. Simply Swimming, if you aren't familiar, if you're new to the kind of swimming in the Madison area or just this level of stuff, Simply Swimming is just I always understood that Simply Swimming was a very important, very valuable partner for us. But when we were doing this search and exploring different options, just talking to different people in the swim community and the swim apparel community, I realized kind of what a true gem Simply Swimming is. And Shane isn't on here, so I'm buttering him up for no reason. So it's not like he's about to hop on. But truly, like the combination of the abilities that they have to do web store and stuff like that, combined with what they're able to do in store with all the customization gear they have in house, their connections within the industry, they can order. There's not a lot of teams. We ordered 700 caps, 750 caps, right? They can turn it around like that in a couple weeks. They can also then just whip something together for us at the last minute if something comes up. So Shane and Jenny are the owners. Mariah is usually the one that is the full-time staff member that kind of we deal with the most. But there's also Colin, does a lot of the graphic design. Kelly is amazing. Becky and Jeremy are some of the production people that are always working in the back there when I stop by. And then there's a bunch of back affiliated people, including some swimmers that work the front desk or work the check-in area. Right. See, free apparel included with the fall fees. So we sent this out as well today. If you weren't aware, this is something we started doing a number of years ago, and I think it's been a great value. It's not super common, my understanding, around either Wisconsin or the greater swim community, but I think it's amazing because we get great pricing on the stuff. Everybody gets the great outfitting. We all look good as a team, and it provides you with a really good value. So, competitively, our fees are super competitive with some of the other teams in the area, and we're offering this that I don't believe is offered with a lot of other options. But this is all available for ordering now. Everyone must fill out the order form to get this, to get your suit, to get your shirt, and to get your cap. If that's all you want, if you don't want to spend any money on anything else, that is totally fine, but you have to still fill it out to get this free stuff. Okay. And you have to do it by next Thursday. They also sent out some of the options that are available for purchase. The same suits are included if you would like a spare or a second or what have you. There's caps you can order as well, either just a different, if you notice, these are kind of the photo negative. This is dark with a light back, and this is light with a dark head. So you can order that either just as it is, or you can get it printed with a custom name on there. Then there's also all sorts of stuff. There's zip ups and hoodies and parkas and backpacks, and Colin whipped together some brand new stuff. A lot of this is in response to what we've heard from you guys. There's a ladies racerback tank there. There's a sublimated sort of non-screen printed item there. There's a couple hats. Then new this year that we haven't done in a long time. There's the back dad, back mom, back grandma, any of that stuff that I think would be really cool as an option. The fall clothing deadline for all of that is Thursday the 19th, the week from Thursday. The reason it's kind of a quick turnaround at the start of the season is so that we can get everything, knock on wood, everything, or at least the very majority of it, delivered by the BAC Spooktacular. The email was sent out today. We sent 2 versions. Apologies for that, but the second version should have all the information on how sort of the ordering process works and also how the delivering process works. This year, the Spooktacular meet that's been in Sauk for a couple of years has moved back to Middleton due to some conflicts in Sauk. So that actually makes it easier in a lot of ways on the pickup, because you can swing by the meet and you can swing by the store either before or after the meet and pick everything up. All right, so the website. So I'll stop sharing this in a second. We'll do a quick version here, and then we will. One other thing I wanted to mention was Simply Swimming stuff. 2 other things, actually. So let me back up. Like I said, the sublimated, the racerback, the back dad, back parent, whatever stuff was all kind of generated from suggestions from you guys, right? This is what we'd like to see. This is what we want. Obviously, we can't do every single thing under the sun, but if you have any ideas for future stuff, we'd love to hear about it. There's also going to be a limited edition special fall 24 t-shirt that we're going to make available for sale at a different point in time. So it's sort of a secret surprise shirt that I think is going to be really cool and people are going to like. One other thing, and this is, I think, really cool, and our parents have really taken advantage of this. Simply Swimming does a great job with when they have overruns of certain clothing items, they put it in the back with a clearance. When they have overruns of the screen printing of the BAC logo, I mean, they don't throw it away, they save everything. So you could go into the store tomorrow and go, shuffling through that and find maybe something that looks totally different, totally unique. Get them to slap whatever kind of back logo they might have on it and get a totally custom item if there's anything in particular you're looking for. They're not going to special order you an XL green polo and slap it on there, but if they have something that's an overrun of stock, they'll make it work for you. Right. So see, one of the things to just sort of address, not the elephant in the room necessarily, but from time to time we do get comments or complaints about Team Unify, about Sports Engine. It does a lot of good things for us, but it is also admittedly an imperfect website. It's a lot of things that frustrate you as those users. There are an unbelievable more number of things that frustrate us as the admin people. Currently, it's the best option available. It's better than other whatever. But if you have frustrations with it, please voice them. But please know that they're heard and they're kind of known. What we use it for the practice calendar, although that's mostly just a link to a Google Calendar. We use it for billing. We use it for communication. We'll talk about adding alternate emails in a bit. Use it for entering meets, checking results, and a few other miscellaneous things. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share on this, and I'm going to share instead there we go. So this will look a little different. I'm obviously have some admin privileges, so this might look a little different. When we get to the new parent tour and we talk about how to sign up for meets and stuff like that, we'll have it on a different login so you can kind of see how it looks from your perspective. But obviously, most of the main links are here up on the top banner. There's site-specific stuff, Madison, Baraboo, Sauk. There's practice calendar. This mostly has the, excuse me, West Side and East Side Madison calendar. If you haven't noticed, maybe one of the undercover most important things to look at is this emails and docs page. This is anytime we send out a mass email that's important, we log or we kind of archive the information here. So you can see the week 0 talking about the parent meeting, talk about a lot of stuff related to meets, everything we sent out today about clothing, the agenda. We'll link the PowerPoint and the video when this is all done. We'll have more stuff over these first couple of weeks that we keep adding. If you're curious, you can always go back and scroll through some of the stuff we added from previous seasons. There's also meets. We'll talk about how to sign up for meets later. One thing that is different this year for those of you that maybe swam last fall or winter or even last spring, but not this summer, we did change some of the, and I can pull it up here. This is the archive meets. So what we've done in the past, typically when you see a meet, so here's the Vast Spring Fling. And again, it's going to look a little different from your access. But what we put in here is a basic description. It looks kind of the same format every time. When is the meet? What are the dates? All that information. We'll also link to the actual meet information provided by the meet host. Although especially if you're newer, that can get really esoteric or that information is much more designed for participating teams and coaches than it is for the lay parent. What we do is we synthesize that information for you and get you the bullet points. What we used to do is this meet, as you can see, is once the meet during the week of the meet, once we have kind of the final information on warm-up times and everything like that, we put together this single sheet in PDF and post that as well. We got away from this last summer, and instead all this initial information and then all the follow-up information we put on a Google sheet, or excuse me, a Google Doc. That way, when we updated it, whenever you click the link, it was the most updated thing you could have. And if there were any last minute changes, you weren't accidentally looking at an old version. So that is something new, even if you are a returning parent. Yep. Let's see. Whoops. This is a new tab that is not built out yet. Parent resources. You can see that it's blank. We had a parent handbook prior to kind of COVID in the old version of our website, but it was like a 40-page PDF, right? It was everything was all kind of strung together. One of the things I want to do just from a backside admin thing over the next couple of weeks is take a lot of that information, update it, and post it as just more single PDFs. So if you want to look through, it's like going to be like a library of one issue documents that will help you kind of get some parent philosophy stuff, our thinking on meets, so just a lot of information about that. Let's see. That is the bulk of the tour. Let's see this. Our sponsors. This will be updated next year. We'll talk about sponsors more, but always good to scroll through that and be aware of who those businesses are that support us. team records. We'll talk about those a little bit more later, but Chris worked really hard over the past year. USA Swimming migrated to a new website about 2 years ago, and for a while it was just a disaster. And since our team records are mostly pulled from their database information, our team records were a disaster. So Chris has those fully updated as of August, so you can peruse those if you'd like. All right, switching back to the PowerPoint. All right, perfect. MAP and Safe Sport. So MAP stands for the Minor Athlete Abuse Prevention Policy. This is something that's been adopted, might be a decade ago now, honestly, by all USA Swimming Olympic sport governing bodies. Obviously, we're all familiar with some of the reasons why this has come into play, both kind of the small stuff of kids just being bullied or not treated very well, or some of the big headline grabbing stuff that sports have unfortunately had. MAP is a great framework. Much of it is stuff the BAC already did. Much of it's very much common sense. Some of the kind of the main things, and the agenda has a link to some more resources, and this is some of the stuff that will be added to that parent resource page as well. But some of the main stuff and some of the stuff that we strive to do always as coaches, obviously any of the physical interactions we have with kids remain appropriate at all times. I remember when I was a swimmer, there was like, massages, coaches giving the kids massages on deck was just a super common. You saw it all the time. The coaches that bring like their special, each coach had their special mix of like menthol oil. And it was just, we don't do that anymore, right? And you're not going to see any of that on deck. So we keep our physical interactions appropriate with the kids. We keep all of our interactions, the buzzwords are observable and interruptible, right? There aren't really any circumstances in which a coach needs to be having a private off deck, away from eyes conversation with a child. So there are other coaches or adults or whomever that are able to observe the interaction and, if need be, interrupt the interaction. Electronic communication. This is the one that probably gets accidentally violated the most from like a parent or swimmer perspective. Any electronic, we shouldn't have any electronic communication between a coach and an athlete without another adult. So lots of times this especially applies to older swimmers with phones. They might get the coach's number and text them like, hey, I'm running late, or hey, what event should I do for the spectacular, or any of these benign, wonderful communications. But when they do that, we want them to be able to include an adult on there. Otherwise, the coach can't really reply. Sometimes we can look up a parent's number and add them, but it's just a big pain in the butt. So anytime you have your swimmer is planning to send a coach an email or a text, please just have them automatically include you, and then it's very easy for our coach to hit reply all. Safe Sport recognition. This is a USA Swimming program where you can have your club recognized as a Safe Sport certified club. We kind of tried to get some effort into getting this certification last year. We've done all the things on our end. What we haven't done is we haven't had, because we're such a large team, we need a percentage of our athletes and our parents to take a Safe Sport certification class. We pushed and pushed last year, and it just wasn't a lot of engagement and interaction. Sorry, my daughter's interrupting. I love you. Go to bed. Yeah, love you. Go to bed. I love you. I'm sorry. Go. Lily, I'm in the middle of a meeting. You gotta go to bed. Seriously. I love you. Go to bed. Now for a while. Half an hour. Go. Thank you. So we did not get a lot of traction. Maybe we'll revisit it a little bit later here in 2025, but we'll see. If you ever have any questions or concerns, obviously we need you to reach out immediately, right? Whether that's to a coach at practice. If you're not comfortable reaching out to that coach because maybe the issue is with them, reach out to me. If you're not comfortable reaching out to me, reach out to a board member. Whatever the circumstances is, we'd rather have you, obviously 1,000 times over, rather have you reach out than have something not addressed. All right. Billing, payments, etc. Sherry stuff. Hold on a second.
It clears once.
So, billing and payments. So Sherry's our business manager. She's a longtime BAC employee, maybe the longest one other than me, possibly close to it. She's a former swim mom. Her son swam for Middleton. Was a really good swimmer, swam for UW Milwaukee. I think just had his team records finally broken over the last couple of years. Our husband, Gordy, works concessions, although we're trying to phase him out so he doesn't have to work. Gordy's getting old, man. He doesn't need to be there all weekend. And don't tell Gordy I said this. He's not watching, but also I don't know if he knows what YouTube is, so don't tell him that I said he was old, because I don't think, if you don't tell him, he won't know. We'll send out invoices by the end of the second week. We'll send monthly invoices thereafter, right? Obviously, your big fee is going to be just the small fee, or when the winter session starts, a winter session fee. But in between there, you'll possibly have meet fees or fees for other, small miscellaneous stuff. Sherry and I talked about it, and rather than have her come on right now and give this information verbally, this is so much easier to process in written form. So she's putting together some documents and information on the particulars of how billing works, payment works, all that. And we're going to send that out via email and also post it on that parent resource page. But the long and short of it is, anytime you're running into any issues with billing and you're not sure, you have any questions, we are great to work with. We're not like some of the stories from some of the other clubs in the area around the state where, I don't know, somebody was a little late with a payment and they kicked the kid off the team or what, just these dumb ways to run a youth sports team. I don't understand it, but we're not them. We're not that. So we're here to support you if anything's needed. All right. I'm going to go back to this after I shushed Lily. All right. Communication. This is probably one of the biggest things we need to make sure that everybody understands. We feel that good communication is actually absolutely essential for a good club operation, right? We're a big part, hopefully, or we want to be a big part of your kids' lives, right? And your kids are really important to you, I would assume. So we need to be there. We need to be able to communicate a lot with you guys, and we need to be able to understand each other. Personally, we'd rather have like a lot of extra emails to go through than have questions go unanswered. So if you're unsure about something and you're not sure where to find the answer, shoot me or shoot whomever an email. We have kind of 4 basic types of ways that we communicate, at least outward to you. Team-wide emails, we sent a bunch of those already. They're posted under the emails and docs tab. You're going to get group-specific emails. You got one of those already, probably for week 0 practices from your swimmers lead coach. Meet reminder emails, those are usually team-wide, but they're just specific and focused on, hey, we just posted and opened this spectacular, and here's the basic information about it. Or the other one is we'd love to have you come and chat with a coach before or after practice when the opportunity presents itself. Communications, that's all how we communicate with you, but communication is a 2-way street, so we want to hear from you as well, whether that's in person or email or whatever works for you. The beginning of the season. So obviously we kind of started already with a soft open week 0, but here's what to expect the first couple of weeks. There's some degree of feeling out for our groups. Some of our groups have a lot of new swimmers. A lot of our groups have a lot of returning backers. Some of our groups have a lot of kids that are in a group they were in already, maybe last spring. Regardless, there's always some new faces. There's new faces, new places, all of that. So there's some feeling out of what are the strengths of the group? What are the weaknesses? Where do we need to improve more? What's the vibe? What's the dynamic? Who are the leaders? All of that information. These first couple weeks for all of our groups, there's a lot of what we call it back to basics stuff. We ran a Westside trophy practice yesterday, and they all know how to dive. I know they know how to dive. They're all very good swimmers, but we started with sitting dives because I wanted to make sure they had a great streamline, great core, a great push, and they were hitting underwater and doing dolphin kicks, right? So we do a lot of that basic work. There's been plenty of time to ramp up to our midseason form, whether that's our older groups that are more training oriented or our younger groups that are very heavy on the stroke technique and technique improvement, but do so, we'll do that in progressively harder environments, right? Like we might have done 625s freestyle on 50 the other day. We'll do it on 40. We'll do it on 35 by the end of the year. So we're doing the same sort of thing, just condensed. This final bullet point, we've often sent emails about just specifically this, but the idea that, practice is too easy, right? If your swimmer came home and said, practice is too easy because we're just focusing on all this basic stuff. My challenge always that I want to throw back at him and goes, oh, you did everything perfect, did you? And answer, of course, is no, they didn't, right? These early practices may not be the most physically taxing things. We're trying to get them to focus. We're trying to get them to pay attention. We're trying to get their technical stuff as refined as possible so that we have that foundation of good skills so we can build upon it. So that's, if your kid is telling you practice is too easy this first week, ignore them or tease them or however you want to handle it, but it's not a worry. If we're getting into October and your kid is saying the practice is too easy, reach out. Because that's maybe something where maybe they're not in the right practice group, or maybe the kid is telling you the practice is too easy and you email the coach and the coach said, it's funny because they took 4 bathroom breaks the other day or something like that. So we want to get on the same page with that. Team philosophy, the core of it is we want to create the best possible experience for our athletes. that can mean a lot of different things to different kids. Some kids, some kids are motivated by the fun of just going to practice. Some kids are just motivated by the exercise. Some kids are motivated by getting better. And certainly, and hopefully, a lot of our kids are eventually ultimately motivated by performance. We like to meet the kids where they're at, right? There are 12-year-olds that have decided this is their number one sport that they are super into, and they want to go like almost every night, and they want to just work themselves as hard as they can and see what they can achieve as 12. And there's other kids that are like, well, I'm in 3 sports. I like this one. I don't know what I'm going to do in high school, but I want to keep in contact with sport, but I'm only going to swim a couple times a week and I want to work more on my technique. We will meet your child where they're at. We have groups for both of those, and we can accommodate both of those sort of, and everything in between, honestly, within practice. If the best possible experience for your athlete is making junior nationals, our coaches will help them make junior nationals. If it's just having a really good time, we'll help them have a really good time. We take a really long-term view of things, right? There are so many clubs, both in the area and elsewhere, that like are trying to get the most possible you can out of a promising 8-year-old. And just, anecdotally, I don't have hard data on it because it's a hard thing to like formally track, but that just leads to kids quitting, right? That just leads to so much burnout. I was talking to a friend who has a young swimmer that is going to join BAC, and she was a swimmer herself, and their swimmer is now, or their child is now finally ready to swim. She goes, I just don't want him to burn out. Are you sure you can do swim team? I don't want to burn out. And it's like, well, do you think we want him to burn out? Like, do you think that's our business model of like getting a new 8-year-old and crushing him and seeing if he quits in a year, right? That would be both obviously not a fun way to run a practice, but also a terrible way to run a business. So we take that long-term view and have that progressive development. No, Lily, you have to go upstairs. Sorry, everybody. Actually, yes, you can hear. Sorry, activating a sleep story. There you go. So long-term review and progressive development. We also value sports as sort of a third space in the vehicle for life lessons. If you're not familiar with the term, there's home, there's school, and then kids need third spaces, right? This was a big debate over COVID when everybody was on lockdown of where are these kids getting that super vital and important interaction. Sports can be that for them. Sports can also be a vehicle for teaching life lessons. But it's important to recognize that it isn't automatically that, right? It isn't just because you're in a youth sport, you're learning determination. Just because you're in a youth sport, you're not learning the value of hard work. You're not automatically learning these things. We need to have the sport structured, and the coaches need to lead in such a way that these lessons are taught. And then ultimately have fun, right? Like we like to have kids that really enjoy it, and really enjoy the sport and really enjoy their time with BAC. Working together for success. So swimmers swim, parents parent, coaches coach. It's a great expression because it's very succinct and very easy to understand, but it's sometimes a little like finger waggy in my opinion. So we don't certainly mean it that way. What it means is that everybody's working together in their right role for the best equation for success for the club and for every swimmer, right? What we need from swimmers is for them to show up and show up and work hard every day to get better, not just their effort, but also their focus. What we need from our coaches is to teach, energize, counsel the kids, motivate the kids, lead. Coaches can be kind of everything, right? I'm sure most of the people on here, whether it was a coach in a sport or maybe it was a different activity that you did, but when you were the age of your swimmer, you had somebody probably other than a teacher or a parent that was very formative in your life, very formative in your development. We want to be that for your child. And parents, your role, you're the ultimate support for the athletes and for BAC. We don't exist without you, sending your kids to us, right? You send your kids to us anywhere from 2 to 6 hours or more a week. That's a huge investment of time that you're trusting us to look after the well-being of your child. And we don't take that responsibility lightly. But your role isn't a minimized role at all. It's a tripod, right? Each leg is super important. In philosophy, it's great to have all that philosophy, but if where's the receipts, right? So it does lead to success. We had a great summer. We had over 30 new team records set by 14 different individuals, right? So this is not, we had 2 or 3 stellar athletes that rewrote our record book and everybody else was ho-hum. We had, like I said, 14 different individuals across almost every age group set a new team record this year. This was by far our best summer and season since COVID. If you weren't familiar, a lot of you were on the team over COVID, but a lot of you are newer since then. It really was a wallop. It was really wallop to obviously everything, but youth sports in particular. I shouldn't say in particular, but youth sports specifically. We had tons of great performances at state and zones. But the other thing we were really happy with, and I was talking to the coaches when we had our meeting last couple days ago, was the success we had up and down the team. Right, like it's great that we had a national champion in the 50 breaststroke of the junior national meet. That's phenomenal. Sam Wolf, that was great. But it's also really cool that there was an 11-year-old boy who had never made finals in all city before, and he made finals in both his events. He got 19th and 18th or something. He's not a record breaker, but that was amazing for him, right? We had so many kids come up to the tent at All City, and Derek had the same experience in Tri-County, where they won their heat, or they gone their best time they ever had, and they were just thrilled. And it didn't matter if that's heat 1 or heat 12. That's an amazing success for BAC swimmers to rack up, and we cherish that. We have a ton of swimmers competing in college, both class of 2024 and years prior. We usually send between 15, 20, sometimes more than 20 kids off to different college programs every year. Sometimes it's big ticket programs. We have swimmers right now that are on UW, just sent a guy off to Stanford. We're sending kids to these big D1 power programs. We're also sending kids to places like Worcester and Occidental, and places that, frankly, maybe you haven't heard of in terms of their Brian Johnson. His son Ethan is on the inaugural first ever swim team for the University of Northern Kentucky. That's really cool. That's really amazing. That's fun. So we have all the success, and we're really proud of it. Should be a great 2024-25 season, building off of all that. Sponsors, fundraising, and events. We didn't feel the need to have Derek come on and say the whole spiel. We'll probably send some follow-up emails, and again, maybe in that parent resource page. But Coach Derek, who is our head coach at SAUC, and also runs our master's programming, is the point person for sort of our, business relations is the general term we use. We love the opportunity to partner with our local businesses. We appreciate you supporting them. We appreciate them supporting us. It's hopefully a pretty symbiotic relationship. We did a Kendra Scott outing, the jewelry place last year that was really popular. We're hoping to do that hoping to do that again this year. Last year we had several share nights at restaurants. Those were pretty popular, and we're hoping to do those again. Want to make sure that any of this fundraising stuff, and I hope we're striking the right tone with the emails, but I want to say this just off the bat before we send any of those. If we have a share night at Noodles and you can't go to Noodles, or you don't like Noodles, don't go. Like it's not like we're like, if you don't go to Noodles and buy $50 of noodles, the club is going under. These are great symbiotic partnerships we can have with these restaurants, where you're maybe going to go get takeout anyway, a couple times a week. Go get it from this place that one day. If it's something that doesn't work for you, it doesn't work. That's great. One of the things we tried to get going last year that didn't really take off was parent social events. We would love to be able to do some stuff to get y'all interacting. It's obviously good, but it's also, realistically, it's a little bit selfish. If you guys have if your kid is liking the swim team, but also you have a bunch of parent friends on swim team, you're much more likely to stick with swim team. So we want you liking each other and engaging with each other and having a good time. So if you have any interest in helping plan any of those, or if you have any connections with any restaurants or businesses, we're not looking for a hookup, just like keep it in the larger swim family. That would be phenomenal. Other ways parents can help back, meet volunteers. This is obviously the most common way we ask for your help, the most important thing probably that we do. Our general rule of thumb is if your swimmer is in one of our hosted meets, we're asking that you are volunteering at that meet. Sometimes if you have multiple swimmers in multiple sessions over multiple days, we're asking for multiple volunteering shifts, but sometimes we don't need to do that. Depends on the meet, depends on the number of kids. One of the wrinkles this year, and we'll share more about this as it gets closer, is we are hosting at the end of February and early March, we're hosting two pretty big meets right in a row, the regional championship and the 10 under state championship. These are both at the Verona Natatorium. Wonderful pool if you haven't been. Great place to host meets. But what we're going to require from all of our winter swimmers is some volunteering at those events, whether or not your swimmers are participating. Just because the numbers of kids at those meets, especially the 10 under meet, are so much less than the number of kids at, say, the BAC Spectacular, the Holiday Splash, that we need stepping up from people that aren't involved directly with the meet. So that's a little bit of a chip in. Other than that, if you're not in the Spectacular, you don't have to volunteer. Just like billing stuff, if volunteering is a real big issue for you, particularly for one reason or another, reach out. We can make something work. Parents might be interested in officiating. Ben Radloff, Rick Zeal are two officials, also Adam Danzinger. Adam, you might see because his kids are on the team. Rick and Ben, their kids are older and have moved on from BAC, although Rick still has a college swimmer. So you may not see them around, but you could reach out to them. And we'll have some information on that going out. We might have some kind of subcommittee type thing or task forcey things that crop up from here or there, stuff like parent social, stuff like the swimathon, right? Ways to help these small individual events that will put out sort of a clarion call for assistance, so you can chime in on that. Fundraising events we already talked about with Derek. All right, so thank you for coming. Don't log off yet, but newer families, make sure you stick around. If you feel like you've been on BAC for a very long time, you can get going pretty quick here. But the closing stuff is the closing logistics. Just get to know your swimmer's coach if it's a new coach for you, so that we can put some faces to names. Reminder that the clothing order is due next week. Those of you wondering about meets, we'll also kind of get some meets posted in the next week or two, specifically the BAC Spooktacular and then the Howard Swamico bus trip. Other than that, the closing thing I wanted to say before some of you log off is just I hope that I've conveyed the passion that I personally, but also I know our staff has for this sport. We pay our coaches well, but it's a hard job to have in a lot of ways. It's a hard job with just kind of evenings and small shifts. So no one's getting rich from coaching swimming, right? So everybody that does this, whether it's the college coaches, the coaches that have been doing this for 20 years, we do this because we love it. We love working with your kids. We are so thankful and appreciative to you to trust us with shepherding your kids through their experience in this sport. We take it, we like to have a lot of fun. We like to goof around. We like to, hey, loud and boisterous, but we take this very seriously. We take our responsibilities and our jobs and the kids' enjoyment of this sport very seriously. So hopefully that gets conveyed as well. I don't think there were any questions in the chat that were pertinent. I think they were all just reminding me that I didn't have my PowerPoint saved. But that's kind of what we had. So thank you very much. New swimmers or newer families, stick around. All right, so welcome to BAC Swamley. We're obviously a large team, but we're small groups, a lot of connections. The example I like to use is we're like a schoolhouse, right? A lot like my kids go to Midvale here in Madison. It's K through second grade only, but there's 6 to 8 grades of each classroom, so it's a big school. There are my daughter's going to get to know her classroom teacher extraordinarily well this year. There are going to be some aides that pop in back and forth that she's going to get to know really well. She's going to get to know the music and art teacher really well. Then there's going to be some people that she gets to know because she sees them around, but she doesn't see them a ton. And then honestly, there's going to be teachers that she never meets, right? There's going to be teachers that she never interacts with. And there's going to be kids that she never interacts with. That's a lot like that, right? Your swimmer is going to get to know a number of our coaches really, really well, a few of our coaches pretty well. And there might be some coaches that they won't know their name this entire year, and that's totally fine. We have those kind of groups within groups, and we make a lot of connections that way. Already talked a little about team philosophy. We'll talk about meet schedule, and we'll do a little bit more of a website. So we already talked about kind of this team structure, 501c3, parent board, all of that information. Brief history of BAC. We started in 99 in the Madison area. In the early 2000s, we had some programming in Baraboo. Then we sort of vacillated. We weren't able to do programming there, but Baraboo had their own team. Then their own team was sort of struggling with just the logistics of running a club. So we were able to take some of the administrative stuff off their plate and allow them to just coach up there. Jill, Brenda before her, now Travis and Stephanie. So that was an awesome addition to that site. And then a couple of years ago, when Sauk redid their high school and opened their new pool, we were able to start programming there, first with Jay and now the last couple of years with Derek. And that's been awesome growth for us as well. We are the largest swim team in the state of Wisconsin. We have about 600 kids that right now, currently, if you count the high school boys and the girls, in any given year, we might have 700 to 800 unique individuals kind of come through the team. Seems really big, and it is, but there are mega teams out there that are 1,500 plus. So we're small compared to them, but we're still very large. All right, website tour. Let me stop the share here. Whoops. Swink. All right. let me go and share a different window here. Great. So we already did the bulk of it. So what I'm going to focus on here is meets and meet sign up. You already saw what some of the existing meets that we had in the past look like in terms of kind of the information. When we post a meet, we should have information posted there that answers all of your questions. When's the meet? Where's the meet? What session is my kid in? All of that information. But it's confusing, man. Like it is. It's confusing. Every meet is a little bit different, right? It's very a la carte, and every meet's a little different in its format from the ones before it. So it is totally fine for newer parents, even for veteran parents, but newer parents especially, to email and ask, hey, I don't get it. What's going on, right? I guess we'd prefer if you try to find the answer on your own first, but whatever. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. I'm logged in under the other account that I have for my kids. So this is what it's going to look like for you guys from your end. So I have 2 meets posted. We don't have any real meets posted right now, but I just went up and threw up 2 meets so you guys can see kind of how that works. So let me start with the beginning here. Oh, see this? I don't ever log in on this one, so I'm not sure how it looks. So events and competition, team events. You can also link to it. Trying to find the front of the web page. Can't find it. That's okay. Oh, view team website. There it is. Okay. So you can get there through, when you're here, you can go up to kind of the my account information. And then that should pull up this screen that I had on before. This is where you can find a lot of information. Oh, I shouldn't share this. This is my private information, but it's on there. This is where you can add alternate emails as well to if there's somebody else that wants to receive the emails besides the account that created the login. You can also find here meets. This should take you to meets, team events, current upcoming, practices. This tab we don't ever use. So here you can see there are 2 meets active, fake BAC meet and fake state meet. So you can go over here and click attend or decline. If you are not going to attend a meet, you can go in if you would like to. Here's my daughter, Lillian. You can go in and say, no, thanks, Lillian will not attend this meet. You do not have to do that. All it will do is save you an email or 2, because usually the day that the meet deadline is, I will send an email saying, hey, the following people haven't signed up for the meet. If you're receiving this email, you haven't signed up for the meet yet. If you want to do the effort of going in and signing out for the meet, you can. If you want to just ignore the email, you can do it that way too. We're not going to automatically add you because you didn't sign up. Okay. But if you want to sign your swimmer up for the meet, here's what it looks like. So this is the event selection for last year's Spooktacular. Last year's Spooktacular was a 3-session meet. So you can see up here on the blue banners, day 1, session 1, day 1, session 2, and then day 1, session 3 does not show up for this swimmer. My daughter Lily is 7. So the day 1, session 3 last year was all the 11-12 events. She's not eligible for those. So that session doesn't even show up as an option. What does show up for her, and I picked her on purpose, 3 different age groups, right? There's the 8 and under events, there are the open events, and there are the 10 and under events. The open events are ones that are open to any age group. Most often, that's going to be a 15 and over or a 13 and over. That's going to be the only option for 15 and over or even 13 and over athletes. Like for this meet, there were no 13, 14 events or 15, 18 events. So there were 8 and under, 10 under, 11, 12, open. So the majority of kids are going to be in that open event. Now, there might be an occasion where there might be in a meet where all the events are open. So that's the only option for your swimmer. There might be an occasion where your swimmer wants to try one of these open events. Maybe Lily wants to go and, well, there's the 8 under 50 free, but say this 8 under 50 free didn't exist and Lily really wanted to try the 50 free, I can go ahead and put her in the open 50 free. What you'll see here is her 2 best times. She's like her daddy. She's not that good, but hopefully she'll get better. I shouldn't put this on YouTube. She might find this later, but hopefully, Lily, I love you. So here's her best times in her 2 events, the 25 BAC and the 25 free. The rest you'll see NT because no time she's never done those events or never done them legally.
I'm gonna be able to finish this show.
So you'll see up here is IE equals individual events equals 4, relay equals 1, combo equals 5. This is the max number of entries for this session. we will, when we open a meet, we'll send an email about, you know, hey, this is how many your swimmer should do. I think actually this meet we changed it to 3 last year because 4 is more than you need to do. So Lily wants to do the 25 back or 25 free. She wants to do the 25 back. She's getting better at pizza stroke. She wants to do the 50 free. And now she wants to do the 50 fly. Oh, maximum per athlete limit exceeded. You cannot proceed unless you're an admin. Oh, okay. Shoot, I went to try to sign her up for too many things. If you ever come across one of those errors like that and you think it's a mistake, shoot me an email right away. So, okay, shoot, she can't do that. Well, maybe she doesn't want to do 50 free. She wants to do 25 fly. Okay. So that's how you would sign her up. This is a lot, right? And it's honestly the best way to understand kind of how these meets work and get a feel for them is to sign up for a couple of them, right? We try our best that we can to get you to kind of the basics, but experiential learning is probably the best in this environment. I did post another meet. This is the fake state meet. There are a few meets where there are time standards where your swimmer has to qualify and be fast enough for a meet. Those are going to look a little different. So here we are again. I can sign out for this if I want. Right here, I can also sign in. This was a copy of the single age state meet last year, where these are the events and these were the time standards. So you can see everything here is red and says not qualified because Lily's time of 43.7 is not faster than the qualifying time over on the right side, which is 22.4. Similarly, her backstroke doesn't meet that, and obviously none of her no times do. Again, occasionally you might come across something that's red errantly. If you do, let us know. Yeah, so that's how that looks. You might have noticed when you sign her up, so here I am signing up Lily. There's a section for notes. You can put stuff in here like Lily has to leave right away, so please don't put her at the relay at the end or something like that. But honestly, if you have situations that are unique to your swimmer, the better way is probably to just email me or your swimmer's lead coach that information. These notes are really, it's a cumbersome report that you have to produce to get these notes aligned with a kid. So short of clicking on each kid and clicking on do they have notes and then reading the note and then going back out for all 240 kids in the BAC spectacular, this is not a very efficient way for us to communicate that. So if you ever have anything that you want to put in notes, just email instead. Let's see. I think that's the bulk of what I wanted to add or talk about for signing up for meets. Let me just look at my notes real quick here. Yep, I already showed the old meets with how those look and the kind of graphics we have there. Parent meeting fall 24. Yep, great. Oops. Yes. Okay, so practice calendar we talked about. Oh, I guess we didn't show that, but I can show that real quick. Well, I'll go back to this one. This is easier for me. The practice calendar tab, again, this shows most of the Madison ones. But when you get here and you see the PDF of the practice schedule, or here SOC, the PDF of the practice schedule, honestly, we're going to take these down in the next week or two because this is what the general schedule is, but there are always changes week to week. And I don't want people looking this up and thinking that you're always going to have 6 to 7:15 on Tuesday. Because for example, hey, SOC swimmers, next Tuesday, there's a high school meet and the pool is not available. So we don't have practice. So instead, what you're going to look at is the practice calendar, the Google calendars. So these should always have the most up-to-date information. They don't necessarily go, I don't know how far Jay has them put out. That's pretty far. But I would imagine that obviously not all the changes are in here yet. They're going to come up. Anytime we have any last minute changes, we're going to send an email out about that. And there's also going to be a list of the changes in most of our weekly emails that coaches send out. Let's see. You can also check results on the website. I'll let you, when you log into your account, I'll let you figure out how to do that as well. Your swimmer has some meets. Oh, how USA Swimming Meets work. There is a document that kind of talks about some of this on the website under the meets tab, but it's a lot different than summer league meets. Same summer leagues, same format week to week. Deadline's the week of the meet. It's usually 2 or maybe a triple duel, and then the team score is probably the thing that we're really hyping up and really getting excited about and really pushing and trying to beat the Stingrays, beat Ridgewood, beat whomever. USA swim meets are really kind of different in almost every regard. They're varied events, varied format. Like I said, Lily could sign up for 8 and under or open, or she could have signed up for 10 and under. Sometimes there might be a 10 and under event that she as a 7-year-old is eligible for. Some meets might label those events as 9-10 events, so she wouldn't be eligible for them. Some meets might have a 500 free or 1,000 or even a mile, 400 IM. Some meets might not. Some meets weirdly might miss like a 200 IM or 100 IM or 100 free. It's very much varied from one meet to the next. The deadline is usually 2 to 3 weeks out or more. Actually, I should probably say 3 to 4 on that. Most often, they're invites with multiple teams present. For the meets that we host, because we're such a large team, there's usually only a couple other teams there, but it feels pretty good and it feels pretty full. We're not in the business of having the most full to the brim meets possible. We like meets that feel good, feel competitive, where swimmers have comparable peers to race, but they get you in and out of there in less time than some of these marathon meets that teams seem determined to hold. I get it. It's a financial thing. If you're renting the pool for $6,000 for the day, you want to pack as many swims as you can in there, but we don't operate that way. We want to run a good meet, not a necessarily the most, squeezing every cent out of it type meet. Generally, most of our meets, our individual performance takes precedence. Honestly, there's very few meets where we even notice or keep score, right? The BAC Spectacular, we're going to win. We don't keep score. We don't care or promote that we win. If we send a few swimmers to, a different invite and then we have a small group at it, we're not going to win, and we also don't care. It's much more about, kids meeting their goals and making steps towards their goals. Some exceptions would be, some of the maybe time standards meets and certainly the state championship meets. Here's our meet schedule. If you haven't seen it already, it's posted in a couple different places. There's also a USA Swimming Frequently Asked Questions document, and there's also an explainer document. It might, if you're new, this might look overwhelming. Hopefully you've seen this information already, but whatever. Your swimmer is not going to do every one of these meets. No swimmer is going to do every one of these meets. Your swimmer is going to do whatever of these meets they want to do that works for you. If that's none of them, especially if you're new and they're young, that's fine. I can almost promise if your swimmer right now says, I don't want to do any meets, they're going to change their mind by October or November when they're getting more used to it and they're getting excited for these opportunities. But for example, the McFarland, the MMS Rockstar Splash, and the WGLO, these are the same weekend. Obviously, you can't do both of them, right? This meet is for one population. This meet is for another population. Same thing here. This iFly Midwest Challenge, we're going to send 25 of our 13 swimmers that are qualified. We're going to send them to that meet. We're going to have a bus trip the same weekend to Green Bay. And there's going to be a lot. We're going to send 60, 80, 100 swimmers to that. That means there's going to be 200, 300 swimmers that aren't swimming that weekend. Totally fine. Try to have, sorry, I'm going to mute. Okay. Back to it. What we try to have is, especially for newer swimmers that aren't so sure about how this all works, we try to have local options that are easy to digest for you. So, BAC Spectacular at Middleton, great. 2 weeks later, Verona hosts a meet at Verona, great. 2 weeks, three or 4 weeks after that, McFarland, that's local, great. A couple weeks after that, BAC, we host a holiday splash in Sauk Prairie, perfect. After break, there's the BAC January Classic. That's a bigger meet that we host. It has teams from out of the state and has some more robust competition. And it's a bigger format meet, but still, it's a local, easy meet and open to anybody. There's another BAC meet in February, and then we get into the season-ending meets. There is one new meet on here that we're going to send some more explainers about, but I do want to get it on everybody's radar. It's the one highlighted in green. This is a meet that we're setting an internal standard for. We've had a problem where our swimmers that are a little more high achieving and are the types that qualify for your Great Lakes Open or qualify for your state meets or stuff like that. They have lots of really fun and interesting meet opportunities that they can shoot for, aspirational ones. I want to qualify for this. I want to participate in this. Then they intrinsically get that award of being able to go to that meet and participating, and oh man, it feels so good. It's so cool. Our swimmers that aren't quite at that level yet haven't really had a meet like that, and this is to provide that for them. This meet is going to be one you have to qualify for, and we'll have some more specifics on it, but basically the qualification process for this one is, have you done meets and signed up for all the events in your age group, right? Are you a 9-10 that's done the 50 back, 50 free, 50 fly, 50 breast, and the 100 IM, and maybe the 100 free, right? Have you done all 5 or 6 of those events that are sort of the normal events for your age group? If you have, you've probably qualified for this meet. If you haven't earned the reward of doing that meet. IMR stands for I Am Ready. It's a point system, motivational point system by USA Swimming. So again, we'll have more specifics on that. But if your swimmer is one that maybe isn't aspiring to some of those state levels this year, this is a great meet opportunity to get on your radar. All right. Communication, you'll notice this is the same screen before, same slide from before. But again, this is just so important that we want to reemphasize everything. We want to communicate. We want you to communicate with us. We want to communicate with you. If there's ever like an email that goes unanswered, there are sometimes problems with spam and stuff, but there's ever an email that goes unanswered for a day or two for myself or for another coach, feel free to send a friendly prod. I am very hand up guilty of having stuff that gets buried in my inbox from time to time, and those prods are very helpful reminders for me. But again, just good communication, and we want everybody on the same page and everybody happy with their experience. That's kind of the bulk of it. So, always ask questions, particularly new families, just ask. You can ask or email the lead coach of your swimmer or swimmers, right? If you have a question that's specific to the East Side Ribbon Group, I'm probably not the best person to answer it, but Julia is. If it's something that's more of a club-wide issue, or you want to just email me instead, that's perfect. You can email another coach if it's something specific about, that might relate to their area of expertise. You can ask another parent. That peer-to-peer relations is amazing, right? Like I said, I've been doing this a very long time, and a lot of the things that I'm trying to always put myself in the perspective of someone that's newer to the sport, newer to USA Swimming, newer to BAC when I do these communications. But some of this is just so second nature to me that it's hard. Same thing with our other coaches. There are so many parents on our team, parents on our team. And if you don't, get to know some and get to know more. Ask them questions, ask them some of the logistic stuff. Ask them, hey, what do I do? And have you ever encountered this problem? My kid just feels stuck in this one event. What happened? How does that work? What happens? What do I need to do about it? All of these different things. Parents have great peer-to-peer perspective. And then obviously there's like a major issue or something, feel comfortable reaching out to me about. We do have the contact information on the web for board members or Brian as our president or anything like that you have those significant concerns over. So that is that. Here's what I'm going to do, because I figure new parents might have more pressing questions. I'm going to end the recording, and then I'm going to let you guys, if you're done, you're done. Thank you very much for attending. If you want to stick around and have a question, you can either email me or put it in chat, or you can unmute yourself in a little bit here. So let me see. Oh, I almost hit end. All right.